All right, shall we jump into
Let's
it?
go. Let's jump into it. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Awesome. Let's do it, Timothy. Man, I'm so excited to be speaking with you. You have, at least in my eyes, and I think in many other minds out there, become the face of social commerce in the last year. It's been fantastic
Thank you.
to.
That's a huge compliment, first of all. Glory to God. Thank you so much for that. That means a ton. I appreciate that.
No, I'm meaning it. I mean, I've been following your journey for quite some time on LinkedIn from afar. I obviously know that you did YouTube for many years before getting into social commerce, and I would love to hear more about that. But you're also quickly blowing up on YouTube related to social commerce and affiliate creation around TikTok Shop and all these topics. But maybe we can start there. You were a creator before. What then got you interested in social commerce? Why did you jump into that new and exciting, certainly, industry? What got you hooked?
Of course. So I started on YouTube, believe it or not, I started on YouTube back in '09.
That's
So
very
I'm
early.
28. I'm gonna be turning 29 this year. I was 11 years old when YouTube first became a thing.
You
And
were
ever
younger than
since I
Mr.
was,
Beast when he started.
right, exactly. So I was always into like entertainment. Like I always wanted to be an actor. I always wanted to perform. I always wanted to do things. So when I found YouTube, it was like YouTube, you can make content from your home. I thought it was the craziest thing ever. The kids were getting on in 5th grade, but nobody was making videos, right? Nobody was like creating content. And for me, I don't know what it was in my head, but I was just like, I'm gonna do it. Like no fear, nothing. I had my best friend and I bought a $50 camera from Walmart with my allowance money. And I started making these videos imitating some of my favorite YouTubers. And me and my friend, we would just be at a sleepover and we're just making YouTube videos till like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And we're just having a blast with it. We weren't really big into sports. Video games were like, yeah, I mean, we would have fun with, but we weren't like major gamers. We just liked creating YouTube videos at 11 years old. So for me, there was never like I have to get used to the camera. I have to get comfortable with the camera. It was just always in me since I was a child. And funny thing about YouTube back then is it wasn't the safest place, right? The internet was barely coming out, and people were just figuring out that you can upload content online, and it was very unsafe back then. It was very nobody knew what it was, and so my parents actually deleted my YouTube channel.
Oh,
And they said, "You're not gonna be on YouTube. This is not safe. There's gonna be predators out here, whatever it may be. You're so young." And I went behind their back and I created another one. And then they did it again. And then I created another one. And then I got in trouble and they did it again. And I created another one. And so about 5 times I started a new YouTube channel and I was not making any money from it. Like no money, just doing it purely out of passion. Did not expect this to be my career at all. Nobody knew that it would be a career. I would just get made fun of in school. And that's pretty much about it. Like people thought I was weird. I was raised in a city, in a part of town where they were not up with the trends. Like they were not trendy. They were very country. They were very old school thinking. And YouTube was just this really weird thing that people were like, what is he doing? And, did it for about 7, 8 years, making no money from it. But when I turned around, I want to say I was 16 at the time. I started a fashion channel. And at the time, I was really into fashion and I was really into sneakers and snapbacks and stuff, but I couldn't afford it. That was the problem is that like I couldn't go buy a pair of shoes from Foot Locker and just make a video with it. Like it was just like I didn't come from a high income family, very high, low income, low medium income household, have 4 siblings, and my dad's working 3 jobs, going to the oil field sometimes for like 4 days out of the week, just like busting his butt, just trying to make ends meet. And so I saw this video on YouTube one time and it was like a guy going to a thrift store and he was like doing a thrift haul. And so at first I was like super embarrassed when my mom would like take us to thrift stores for like clothes and stuff. But when I realized that I could find a $300 pair of Air Jordans for $5 and I could make a video about it, it went crazy. It absolutely blew up. And so from then on, I was realized that I'm going to make videos that relate to an audience like myself of people that want to dress cool but can't afford it. And so I started going to, these discount stores and like the flea markets and like the thrift stores. And I did that. I ended up when I was 18, I remember I prayed about it and I was like, I want to be self-sufficient by the time I'm 18. And I remember everybody laughed at me for that, but I had gotten my first sponsorship ever when I turned 18 from YouTube. And so essentially they were going to pay me $800 a month and it was $200 for one video a week. And so all it was it was a quick 5-second ad at the beginning of the video. And it was like, It was like catbeast.com, design your own snapbacks and hats. And that's all it was. And they just wanted me to do that as pre-roll before my YouTube video. And so with that money, I was able to move out to my first apartment. When I moved out of my first apartment when I was 18, the fire that I had under me, you can't buy that. Like, you can't make this stuff up. I knew that I could not run back to mommy and daddy or run back to anybody for extra money. I had to make it at that point or just nothing, right? There was no plan B. So at 18 years old, I realized this. So I'm making a YouTube video every single day for my sneaker channel. In addition to that, I'm doing a daily vlog. So I'm doing a daily vlog video every single day. So I'm doing full YouTube videos a day. I was staying up till 5 in the morning. I was listening to Gary Vee when he first started coming on the scene, crush it. And, I was going to bed just like, I remember a night where like, I'm just in pure like prayer and I'm just like, have tears going down my eyes. And it's like 5 in the morning. And I'm just like, God, I want this so bad. Like, I want this so, so, so bad. And so fast forward, dude, from the point when I was 18 to the point where I'm 21, I mean, it was a really quick growth, dude. Like, it was like a lot of failures, a lot of hardships, a lot of me wanting to keep pursuing it. But it went from like me making, I don't know, $1,500 a month to like by the time I'm 21, I started making 40, sometimes $50,000 a month from YouTube. And
And
so it
that
was a
was just
quick growth.
AdSense, or was that also sponsorships?
That was just
Wow.
AdSense. That was without sponsors. So we would have some sponsorships sometimes pay us, five to $10,000. I remember when I was 21, I was living on this massive high rise in my city, and it was just like such a blessing. I had gotten married at a very early age, so we were living there and traveling back and forth to LA all the time. So I remember like the early days of YouTube back in like 2016 when like I was going to VidCon and I was meeting Logan Paul when he was first starting, meeting Jake Paul when he was first starting, meeting all of these icons of today when they were just starting out. And so my whole background is like I know everybody in the influencer space, and that's what people don't understand about it's me and TikTok Shop is like for the most part people that are on TikTok Shop either have a background in e-commerce or they just came on the scene with TikTok Shop and they're just regular people. I've been doing this for more than a decade in the whole creator space. And I don't think that's something that people understand. They think like it's just like an overnight success. They don't understand that like every single thing to do with content creation, we have failed at time and time and time again to figure out what we're doing now. And so, I was studying with the guys that were like training Mr. Beast behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Like I would fly out to Utah and spend a weekend with like Mr. Beast mentors to try to figure out how to make content. Like I've done it at the highest level you can imagine. The YouTubers that I'm friends with now are worth like, I think they just quoted I don't know if it's him for sure, but I think they quoted his business is now worth $100 million just from YouTube.
Right.
So like these are like the people that I come from associating with. And they don't like a lot of people don't know my true background, but I've had so much, experience, probably more experience than anybody on the whole TikTok Shop ecosystem when it comes to specifically influencer, content creator types of things. So I'm doing a sneaker channel at this point. This is 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I'm living in LA. I have this sneaker channel going for me, but the sneaker industry, it's kind of just going down. Like it's not at its peak anymore. The YouTube AdSense is going down. I'm busting my butt out here in LA, super expensive rent. And I think the YouTube AdSense was just falling because the whole the whole hype that had once been the sneaker community with Kanye and Virgil and like all the hype and since then died. So nobody was really interested in sneakers anymore. Nike started flooding the market and it wasn't as crazy trendy as it once was. So as you can imagine, with that followed the views. And I had been building this brand for the past 10 years for myself, which I don't regret because it was everything that I ever wanted. Like my whole thing was like, dude, just thinking about getting 1 million subscribers in the sauna. And at this point, fast forward to 3 years ago, I'm at 2.8 million subscribers on YouTube, 2.2 million followers on TikTok, 1 million on Facebook, 300K on Snapchat. Like I've grown, I'm at 6 million total followers across. But the problem is that I didn't build any real businesses and my audience was very much young demographic.
Right.
So they weren't buying anything. So they were very young. So they were middle school. So at this point, I'm only relying on AdSense. I'm getting the occasional brand deal, but the brands are quickly realizing that the ROI that they're getting back is not good. So nobody's paying me again for another brand deal because they're all kids. And so I need to figure something out quick. And so my AdSense is going down to like, I think I'm doing like $10,000 a month, which is still great. It's a blessing. But when you're living in West Hollywood and you have all these bills, it's crazy. Oh,
Come, that doesn't go that far.
right, exactly. So in my head, I'm thinking like, okay, what is the next step from here? Like, what am I going to do from here? So I thought my initial thought was like, I was going to be an actor. And so at the time, I'm living in LA. I'm signed under Jimmy Kimmel's social media management. And they're like, yeah, we're going to help you get on TV. We're going to help you get in movies. So I'm meeting with agents. I'm meeting with all this stuff. So I'm living in Hollywood, and I'm thinking that I'm gonna start doing Hollywood stuff. I think I'm gonna easily slide into it. And what I didn't realize was that everything that you build on social media, when you try to go into the mainstream world, means nothing. Absolutely nothing. They don't care how many followers you have, they don't care that you've done this in the past. They want pure talent, and they want like the actors are just, the talent, right? So they're not like the producers, they're not the and so it was almost a game of like, well, who's gonna choose me? Who's gonna pick me? And I was doing acting class like 4 times a week. It was consuming everything. I was going to school in Hollywood and doing one-on-one with coaches and auditioning and getting nowhere with it. And so then all of a sudden, I remember talking to my friend and I was like, if I come at a Hollywood project with money, I can cast myself in the role. And he's like, absolutely. He's like, there's one thing that you need to know about this Hollywood game is that it all comes back down to the money. So in my head now, I'm thinking, okay, I need to readjust. If this is really my passion, if I really want to be an entertainer, then I need to think 20, 30-year plan. And what does that mean? That means I need to make the money first, then come at it as an executive producer and produce my own projects, which is still in the back burner, the long-term game. I'll probably get there when I'm 40. But all of a sudden, I need to make money quick. I need to figure out what the next game plan is. My mom calls me up one day. My mom, of all people, I don't know how familiar you are with the story, but my mom had seen TikTok Shop start as a seller, not as an affiliate. So my mom sees TikTok Shop start. At the time, there was a trend going on for a Mexican candy, and it was called the chamoy pickle kit. So what they would do is it was a red pickle, chamoy pickle. They would cut it out. They would put candy in the pickle. They would stuff the pickle, and then it was like this viral internet sensation trend. So people were doing it, but people weren't selling it. My mom realized that, hey, they're manufacturing this pickle and all the candy in my hometown of San Antonio, which is very Latino, all the stores and all that are there coming directly from Mexico. So she's like, she starts buying it in bulk and she's like, starts selling it. Instantly takes off, instantly blows up through the water because at this time, this is the earliest days of TikTok Shop. This is when they just launched. So my mom is getting all the incentives, all the seller incentives. They're giving her free traffic. They're giving her coupons on coupons on coupons. I mean, they're trying to acquire customers so bad that she was making a sale every second when they would go live. And they were giving out coupons that were so good that at the time, the chamoy pickle kit was costing $30 on TikTok Shop. Well, TikTok wanted customers so bad that they were giving them so much coupons that they could stack up on each other that they were giving them it for literally 99 cents. Sometimes even a penny, the customer was able to get it for. And my mom was getting the full amount. So it was just a wild time on TikTok Shop. They ended up expanding to like 40 employees. They did like probably more than 500,000 orders, 2 warehouses, millions of dollars in sales. And my mom calls me up one day and she says, Tim, you got to get on this TikTok Shop stuff. And at the time, TikTok Shop was looked at very, very down on from influencers. Everybody thought it was weird. Everybody thought it was cheesy. And a lot of them still do. Most of them still do. But I knew that I needed to try something. And so I didn't really want to do my mom's chamoy pickle. I was like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. So I started
Even
with
if
like,
it's
it
a
was
good
like an
idea, you don't want to
astronaut.
do what your mom does, right?
Right. So I tried an astronaut projector and I didn't know how to do product research. I didn't know how to, study for the products. So I do this astronaut projector and I remember making so many videos on it and I couldn't get a sale. I couldn't get a sale. I couldn't get a sale. All of a sudden, boom, I get a sale. I'm super excited. I go to Soho House, I get a bottle of champagne, like I'm celebrating. I'm like, this is it. We're going to do this. And I'm just obsessed with TikTok Shop at this point. Like I am joining every community, every course. I'm watching every YouTube video on it from like morning to night because I'm just like in this like flow state where I'm like nothing else matters. I'm just waking up, going to the gym, and then TikTok shop till I go to bed.
When exactly was that? Do you remember month and
This was
year?
about 3 years ago
3 years
now.
ago. Okay.
I want to say this was about 3 years ago
So
now.
just when they launched
So,
still.
right, the affiliate program. They had just launched the affiliate program. And so all of a sudden, I tried my mom's pickle kit. Now, the moment that I do my mom's pickle kit, dude, we doubled our YouTube revenue that we were expecting to make that month in a week. And so I think we had our first like $20,000 week, the first week that we did my mom's chamoy pickle kit. And I was like, this is nuts.
And was that
This is
GMV? Sorry to
insane.
interrupt. Was that GMV or
No,
was
that
that
was commission.
your revenue?
That was commission. So we probably did 80 to $90,000 in GMV that week now that I think about it. And so I'm like, okay, this is crazy. So me and my wife, we make 2 accounts for TikTok Shop and we start doing it. But the money starts coming in and it's so good that I'm like, well, let's just do this on our regular accounts. Like, let's just do 4 accounts. So we're doing 4 accounts at the time. After studying the data, they said 3 videos a day was the sweet spot, right? So 3 TikToks a day is the sweet spot. We're doing comment reply videos. I'm mainly talking about the sale because they're so cheap. People are getting it for so cheap. So I'm just making a video. I'm like, every day I'm waking up. I'm like, guys, this is the cheapest price they've been at. You got to go get it right now. It's the Valentine's Day sale. We're putting it on the table. We're making it look nice. We're putting the pickles, the candy, everything. You're like, you get all this in the thing. Go get it now. People are getting it for only $5 right now. Dude, it was like the easiest job in the world because you got to remember, I come from the days of like spending, countless hours on YouTube, editing till 5 in the morning for these long form videos. And now you're telling me I'm just picking up my phone, talking for 5 seconds, and then going on to the next video. I was finishing my work every single day. I kid you not. I was doing 10 to 15 minutes a day of work, making that kind of money. And it was just like, this is nuts. Like, this is nuts. This is insane. And so eventually what happened with my mom is they took down her account.
Okay. How come?
So at the time, there was this weird rule with TikTok Shop where if they got too many bad customer reviews, they would remove your item from TikTok Shop. And so, unfortunately, there was a lot of battles between her and the food and beverage team, and they took her shop down and she was unable to recover. So things started getting bad. She started getting violations, and, the traffic was slowing down. They were suppressing traffic. They were doing anything they could to punish her, which it wasn't even her fault. It was that it was a Mexican candy and not everybody likes the taste. It wasn't even her product. So that's not a rule in place anymore, which is totally not fair. She got hit with a rule that was like not even in place anymore. But I have to find the next thing. And so I'm like, okay, we got to find the next thing. And I remember, dude, it went from like, $30,000, $40,000 month to like boom crashing. And it's like $40 days, $20 days. And I'm like, okay, I got to go back to YouTube. So I start doing my YouTube again. I'm going to acting class. I'm doing it all. And I'm calling my mom and I'm like, this has to be a glitch. Like, there's no way we only made $30 today. Like, this has to be a glitch, which is the first thing that people don't understand about TikTok Shop is it's not guaranteed money. It's not like you're going to consistent have income. It's ups and downs. You are running a full business now. You are running a full business now. And
At that point,
for
did
like
you think
2 months,
the hype was over, or did you think it was something on your end that the algorithm
I
changed
knew
and
that
you
TikTok
haven't
Shop
figured it out anymore?
I knew that TikTok Shop was still a thing, and I knew people were still making great money from it. But I think they started, like, taking away the coupons. They started, like, all the incentives were starting to get taken away.
Right.
So the gold rush,
Shit
the
got
first gold rush
serious.
was over. And so I unfortunately had to move on to another product. So I spent 2 months doing research, and I remember at the time, there was 2 products that were really big at the time. It was the Beast Bite creatine gummies, and it was the Lullaby sleep gummies. And I started doing those videos, and they started picking up fuel. But at the time, I'm always looking at for ways to crack the code, right? Like, I'm a data guy behind the scenes, and that's what people don't realize about me. So I was running ads for my mom at the time, and we were running ads on our own videos, and just it was like a streamlining process. So then I'm like, is it possible to run it? And this is people will talk about it now, but I was doing this 3 years ago. Nobody was doing this back then. I was on the ad manager and I realized that you could run ads to any video on your account. And so in my head, I'm thinking, is there a way to scale up ads as an affiliate and make it profitable. Because at that point, I'm not waiting for people to run my Spark code. I'm not waiting for people, you know what I mean? I can do this all in-house and scale it as much as I can. If I'm making $20,000 a day and I'm putting $10,000 a day in, like, we can scale it up. I can do this. So I start doing it, and I start doing it with the Beast Bites. And I got to the point where I'm putting $1,000 a day, and I'm like, we're almost breaking even. We're almost breaking even. But see, the problem is that the ad manager wasn't going based off of my earnings. It was going based off of the total sale amount. So
Mm.
the ad manager was like, this is great. You got a 3 times ROAS on this. And I'm like, no, I'm not making the whole profit. So I get invited to an event. I talk to the top of the top of the top of the top for TikTok shop. And I tell him, I'm like, listen, I got big ideas. I'm like, I want to do 100 affiliate pages. I'm like, dude, I do my videos in 10 minutes. I'm like, I can do 100 pages and spend a couple hours doing this a day. And he's like, I don't think that TikTok wants that. Like, that TikTok's going to look down on that. Like, they want one account per creator. And then I'm like, okay. I'm like, can you make it to where we can run ads on our own videos and make a profit? And he's like, we can't do that because creators could take advantage of it and start doing some sneaky things that the brands are going to lose money, and it's not going to be right. So that idea failed, but I quickly found my next winning products, which were the Beast Bites and the Lullaby. So I'm doing those, supplements every single day. At the time, man, they were giving out crazy commissions. Everybody was. I think I was making like I think I negotiated with them, probably making more than this, but I think I was doing $12 a sale, which is
Wow.
nuts.
How much
So $12
percentage-wise
per
was that
sale,
in commission?
I think like 30%.
Very good.
30% commission. And so I'm doing that and I'm studying my data. And then I'm realizing, I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, I'm getting more conversions when I don't show my face. When I don't show my face, I get more conversions. And when I just talk about the sale, because I realized at the time that, and dude, all my information's been leaked, which is why I learned now that, like, when you find something that works, as much as you want to help people, sometimes you got to stay quiet about it, because now all of TikTok Shop uses my methods. But at the time, I realized that the algorithm is so good that if I'm selling this bottle of Saratoga water, it's not going to regular people that have never seen this before. The algorithm is specifically targeting people that have already interacted with this water, wants the water, they're fans of water, or they maybe added it to their cart, but they just haven't made the buy. So now I realize, hey, my job is to do the impulse buys, right? My job is to just, like, they're right there, they're almost going to buy it. I just got to do the final impulse. So I'm like, what are things that cause people to buy instantly? Time running out, sales, things like that. So I start saying, this is the last day to get the sale. This is the biggest sale they're ever going to get on. You're never going to find this sale again. And I'm screaming at the camera, faceless. Today's the last day of the sale. And I'm putting visuals. I have a rotating disc. I'm rotating the gummies, and things just start popping off. I'm doing like $2,000 days. I'm on vacation. I'm doing like a $2,000 day, a $3,000 day. And I'm like, this is great. This is easier than before. I don't even have to show my face. So, dude, excuse me. So I start scaling up the accounts. Affiliate accounts need a couple months to warm up before they really start producing. You got to build that library, which is what people don't understand. So at the time I moved back to Austin, I'm like, why am I still in LA? There's no reason for me to be in LA. I'm not even going to do the acting anymore. I'm going to make 10% of what I'm making now being an actor. And so I moved back to Austin. And that's when I really start scaling everything up, dude. So that's when the companies are starting to get to know me. I'm going to affiliate events all the time. I'm making great relationships with these companies. Like, I'm taking them out to dinner. And there's this one company specifically that they were like, Tim, you are a massive influence on the TikTok shop. Like, this was 2 years ago. So this was still a while back. And they were like, you're a massive influence on the TikTok shop. They're like, everybody's copying your videos. Everybody looks at what you're doing. They replicate it for themselves. They're like, we want you to be our official ambassador. Like, we want to do a retainer deal with you. They're like, can we give you $3,000 for 15 videos a month? And I'm like, let me think about it. So I go to the gym and I go into the sauna, and there's this guy that was like very familiar with TikTok shop as well. I think he had his own brand or whatever. And I tell him about the brand that wants to give me the retainer deal. And I say, I'm thinking about just telling them to give me a higher percentage and keeping the money. And he's like, dude, they cost $3 to make those. They're selling them for $30. He's like, tell me you want 50%. I'm like, 50%? Are you sure? And this was back then before you could change the ad commission rate. So it was same across the board, with and without ads. So I say, hey, keep the money. Let's do 50%. off all my accounts and I'll focus on just you guys. And they said, done. Dude.
That's a big risk you took, though. I mean, you must have been very confident at that point in your skills and abilities to sell that stuff.
Well, it wasn't, we didn't have an exclusivity deal, but I was saying most of my focus would go on you guys. So I was still doing a lot of the other brands. But at the time, I think TikTok Shop was more of a game of like, stick with your products that you know and then, experiment, but only do like 5 products that do good and do it over and over and over again. And so, dude, that Black Friday, I remember the moment the Black Friday sale started 2 years ago. I literally, not this Black Friday, but the last Black Friday, dude, I remember the moment the Black Friday sale started, it was like it started at 7 p.m. to midnight. I had already made $5,000. And dude, I burst into tears. I'm like so grateful for everything. And I'm like, this is going to be an insane Q4 for me. And I'm like, my dad had to go and bust his butt in the oil fields, and we couldn't afford anything. We couldn't afford clothes at the mall, nothing. And I'm just making $5,000 in a few hours. Like, this is nuts. This changed my life. Next day, boom, $9,000. Next day, boom, $7,000. I'm at dinner with my friends and I'm like, guys, don't even worry about it. Like, this is crazy. I ended that month making $140,000 in just commission.
Jesus Christ. How many videos did you make for that?
Dude, like 3 a day. And I don't even think it was the fact that I did 3 a day. It was like the way that it works is like it's going to use all of your past library to push. So it was like that whole year of me just making videos for that company that's all at 50%. And I think that I don't, I don't think like, I don't think it was profitable for them at a certain point, but that was our deal. I didn't know what their back end looked like. I don't know if they wanted exposure, but I made a lot of money. I made a lot of money that month. Then December comes and I do, pretty well as well. I'm selling more cologne at that point. I think I do 70,000 that month. And it's just like, it keeps going. For the next, for the next 6 to 7 months, I'm doing between like 40 and $100,000 every single month, just off the affiliate program, off all my pages. And I'm like, this is insane, but I want to scale. I want to scale. I want to scale. So here comes another one of my bright ideas. And I'm like, okay, what if I outsource this? What if I hired actors and actresses, right? Because I come from Hollywood, and I build a business and I have them create these affiliate videos for me. And I step out and I train them and we just scale it up and we scale up to 100 accounts. So I come back to Austin. I see Outlandish. I see what Will's building. I see all the booths. I come back to Austin and I build it for myself. I build these live streaming booths. I have a 2-story agency. I sign a year lease. The bottom was built more like a live stream studio. So the bottom was booth, where we were going to get retainers from brands and we were going to start taking over brands' live streams for them. Top was going to be built like a home. So that we had a interior designer come in and do a couch, a living room, a kitchen, a bedroom. So if the girls wanted to do clothing videos, it was going to look organic. And so we ended up hiring 4 girls. We got retainers with brands and everything was great. Here's the problem though with that business model is that, for one, the brands didn't trust me running their account because I'm an affiliate. They're like, so I couldn't get that, but I did get retainers from the brands. And I think my girls were so good that they were doing like 70 TikTok shop videos a day. And they were only working 4 hours a day. So they would come in at noon and they'd leave at 4 and they were doing 70 TikTok shop videos. So I started negotiating with brands and I'm like, we'll do 600 videos for $5,000. Because I know my girls will knock that out in less than a week and that pays them for the month.
Right.
And so we're doing, gosh, they're coming in and they're all working in different rooms, and it's mainly videos at this point. Problem is that like, I feel when they're just employees, they don't really have a care to make the money or make it successful.
Did they get a
So
commission or a cut of the commission?
no, they weren't getting a commission. At that point, yeah, we were gonna add that on in the future, but like we just wanted to make sure that it was successful first. So we were still in the green. We never went in the red, but I just remember looking back to the data after 4 months, and me and my wife were looking, and like the girls were not converting at all. Like at all. The sales that were coming in were still for my old videos. So in retrospect, I should have just kept doing it myself. I should have bet on myself. And I realized at that point that it is not a method. It's not a way of doing it. It is truly me. and it is truly my voice and it's my IP, and there's something special about me as a creator. And so I'm like, I need to bet 1000% on myself and not bet on other people that are just don't have any experience in this field. So dude, so I'm paying 4,000 a month for this space and I sign it for a year. After 4 months, we cut the business and I'm stuck in this lease and I'm back to square one. And I'm like, okay, what's next? So I'm thinking traditional agency. At this point, I start making content. So I start making content in order to promote my agency and I name it Shop House.
Was your reflex never to just go back to what was working and where you had like 100K months?
Yes, I went back to what was working, but then things started changing at that point because they started like not promoting bottom of funnel videos as much. It had at this point, let me tell you too, at this point, there was a point where foreigners started taking my videos and AIing it and replicating my voice on their videos 10,000 times a day. 10,000 TikTok shop videos were being uploaded with my voice, stealing my voice and making. So then the Americans realized they could do it. And every creator starts stealing my voice, lifting up their product and going like that with my voice. My voice has been used over 1 million times on different videos on TikTok shop. Like it got so bad. Creators will tell you this in America. It got so bad. You could not open TikTok without every other shop video being my voice.
And there was no way to
It
take
got
that down, like platform wide, like YouTube would, at least to some extent, if somebody takes your
So
content?
it got really bad when I started going to events and people started recognizing me. And they were like, "You're the guy with the voice? I just used your voice on my video. You're the guy. You're the guy. You're the guy. You're the guy." And I'm like, "Okay, this is bad. This is really bad. Like it is everywhere." And so I remember specifically after an event that we had in Austin and everybody recognized me for the voice. And I went on the video and I clicked on the sound and it said, remove this from 400,000 videos. And I said, if I remove it, I'm not making any money. If I keep it, I'm not making any money. This is the marketing for my brand, for my IP. This is how everybody's going to get to know me in the space. So I'm like, okay, let's leave it up. And I start doing Shop House. I start marketing for my agency. So this one event in Miami, and eventually TikTok Shop, just to fast forward on the whole voice thing, TikTok Shop removes all of my sounds because it was ruining the app. It was ruining the US market. People were getting on there and hearing my voice only. It was so bad. I'm not exaggerating. It was so bad. The creators would tell you, you would open the app and it'd be like, what do you mean the sale ends today? What do you mean the sale ends today? What do you mean the sale ends today? Like it was everywhere. It got so bad that TikTok Shop themselves asked me to go on stage and say the sound at an event. Like TikTok employees were like doing a recap of the TikTok events and they were using my voice as like a funny thing to play around with. It was the most viral thing at the time. To this day, I'm the most viral TikTok Shop creator of all time because of my voice. And from one account, but like if you think about it, IP wise, I've sold probably $100 million worth of GMV just for my voice. So TikTok eventually chilled it out. They removed the sounds themselves, and you know what? These creators re-uploaded it, so they saved them in their database and they're re-uploading them every time TikTok Shop takes them down. And I just saw a very viral video with my voice on it today. So they're still using it. It's never gonna go away. But hey, it's free marketing, right? It's free marketing, and I think it's hilarious. And let them make their money. We can't. There's nothing you can do from a legal perspective because when you make TikToks, you sign away all the IP for your videos. So TikTok can do whatever they want with them. But anyways, so that was a whole different story. That was a whole voice story. But in the meantime, I started making these interviews at an event. So are you familiar with School of Hard Knocks?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so those are my good friends. And I met them before they really blew up and stuff. And so we've done dinners together and stuff. And like at the time, like they were trying to get into YouTube. So I went out to dinner and kind of like, you know, sat down with them for a while. And so those are my good friends. And so I thought, like, what if I did their kind of format, but for TikTok shop creators to get, views and get attention to my agency and get clients. So I was at one event in Miami and I grabbed 5 of my friends, or I grabbed 3 of my friends. And I was like, what do you do for a living? How much did you make from TikTok shop? And at the time, my friends were killers. So they were like, I did $5 million last year from the affiliate program. I did $3 million last year from the affiliate program. And one of the videos ended up hitting like 1 million views. And I was like, cool. So this is great promo for the agency. So I keep going to events and, I keep doing it. And then when I realized the girls weren't successful, when I realized the girls weren't profitable, I was like, okay, we need to go for the next game plan. I'm still doing my TikTok shop videos, but I want more. I want to scale more. You know what I mean? I have so much ambition. And so I'm like, what if I go to the traditional the traditional agency route? So I'm friends with all the biggest health brands at the time. I'm friends with all the biggest affiliates at the time. And I jump on a call with them and they're like, yeah, we have $50,000 we'll throw into your creators. Like, we'll be your guinea pig. Like, test it out with us. And then the creators are like, yeah, we're down, Tim. We trust you because it's you and we know you and we love you. And then I started hearing horror stories of like what some of these agencies have been through.
Like what?
Like stories about like a brand and not paying
Mm.
hundreds of thousands of dollars and then they had to pay it out of pocket. And at the time, I'm like, dude, my reputation is so much more important than like making quick buck. And I'm like, this is like, I don't know anything about running the back end of an agency. Like, this is not my passion, nor is it my skill. I would just do it just for the sake of doing it. And so then I was on the phone with my mom and I'm like, what really drives me, what I'm really passionate about, what I'm really good at is being front facing and making content. And so I called my mom and I'm like, I know this sounds crazy. I'm like, but what if I became, obviously it would be a massive pay cut, but I'm like, what if I became the first ever TikTok Shop media company where we make content around, TikTok Shop? And she was like, that's brilliant. I love that idea. I'm getting invited to all the affiliate events, right? Because I'm like top 1% star creator. So I'm doing interviews with my friends and I'm paying it out of pocket, not making any profit. I'm like, we'll figure out the monetization later. But I think that this is digital real estate. So I think it's still so early before the boom. So I need to capture as much of that as I can before the big boom. And so I'm paying for flights, I'm paying for hotels, I'm going to every event, doing interviews with all my friends. I'm paying an editor. I jump on the phone with one of the big Hollywood agencies, like the biggest. And I'm like, I'm doing this media company. Do you guys want to work together? They're like, you're still too small for us to work with you, but they're like, we think you need to start a podcast. They're like, that is going to be the biggest monetization opportunity for you to do rather than doing the interviews. So I'm like, okay.
So at that point, the idea was that you do make most of your money, at least, off of the actual content. It was not that you're promoting. It was not that you're getting hired to make content. It was actually making money off
Right.
of
I
the
was still
content.
doing TikTok
Right.
affiliate. TikTok affiliate was what was fueling most of it and paying my bills, but it was still a massive pay cut. And I'm pulling out so much money to go to these events. So then I go to the Social Army event that they did in Vegas, the Live Academy event, and I grab a bunch of the affiliate friends and I'm like, let's do podcasts. So I remember I do 2 podcasts with Bryce and Garrett the first night. The second day I lined up like 7 of the girls. So I'm like, all right, we're going to do this. So from morning to night, I ran podcasts up for like 7 to 8 hours. And I was like, okay, this is great. And then the next day, Will comes to the event from Outlandish. And I'm like, Will, we got to do a podcast, bro. So I was so excited to finally meet Will for the first time. And dude, I think we had like a 3-hour podcast because I didn't want to let him go. I was just picking his brain on everything. In my eyes, I think Will's going to be the first billionaire to come from social commerce.
And was he already big in the space back then, or was it your insights of the community that
Will
you,
was
okay, this is a
very,
guy to
Will
bet
was
on?
Yeah, Will was very on the low. He was playing it on the low. Will doesn't make content. Will, he's very low key.
I know, I reached out to him.
But
No
Will,
answer so far. Hard to get a hold of.
yeah, I mean, I think he'll do it. I definitely think he'll do it. I mean, now we're like really good friends. Like I text him like almost all the time. But he's my favorite person in the entire space. I mean, dude, right now he's expanding to like Outlandish Brazil, Outlandish Mexico. Like he is conquering on the business back end stuff. That is the guy. And for me, and for now you're like sparking a light bulb moment in my brain. I'm like, should I partner with Will? No, but for me, I saw him as like a game changer. Like he was really so Will's story is crazy, man. Cause he was in China when ByteDance originated. He was a creator. So like he saw everything start. He saw the way that China blew up Douyin. He saw it all firsthand. He was a part of it. Like TikTok literally brought Will out to help with TikTok Shop US. So, I mean, he's the guy. for sure. And he doesn't see anybody as competition. He has an abundance mindset, like everybody's collaborators, you know? So I love Will, but I do a podcast with Will. And then after that, I remember like I had stopped doing the podcast and I started doing kind of like the regular type YouTube videos. And I didn't really think the podcast was going to go anywhere. And then all of a sudden, after like 2 months, I'm still doing my affiliate videos. One of the podcasts blows up. And it's like, it's not crazy, but it's like 25,000. And I'd only been getting a couple hundred views at the time on the pod. And then it gets my channel monetized. And I'm like, okay, okay.
You're
And
like, oh,
so
I've done this
I'm like,
before. I know that
I'm
game.
like, let's do this again. Let's do this again. Right. So then start running the pod and it's still not profitable. And I'm like, okay, I'm spending way too much money. I have bills to pay. Excuse me. I just had my newborn daughter and I got to figure it out. So then Will, Social Army, Stan, and Jasper, they all start talking really, really good about me to the founder of Goalie. And Goalie's like, we need this guy. We need to work with this guy. And so I tell Goalie, I'm like, what if I came on and I became the first Goalie nutrition ambassador? Affiliate marketing, I mean, not affiliate marketing, but traditional influencer marketing, where you guys would sponsor me. You guys would, sponsor the microphone. And they're like, we love it. We did some negotiation. We did it. And so Goalie is officially the first sponsor. And for the first 6 months, it was just Goalie, dude. Like that was what was fueling it. Like that was what allowed me to really go full time with this. And so I remember I was in Miami. I was doing a mega live. And I remember the founder of AFM agency here in New York, Bo, he's a good friend of mine too. And he was like, dude, I think you just need to focus full time on Shophouse. Like that's how all your opportunities are getting built. Like you need to stop doing the affiliate videos. You need to focus full time on Shophouse.
And what was the
And
reasoning behind that? Was it that he just saw the passion in your eyes and he's like, okay, Tim is the
he
guy who
knew that it
can
was
be
going to be
the
the biggest
ambassador
thing.
for it? Or was
He
it
knew that it was going to be the biggest thing in the world. He knew it was going to be the biggest thing in the world. Like he knew it was going to be the biggest ever.
TikTok Shop, you mean?
And then no, Shophouse,
Shophouse.
like the media company. Versus like, I'm not going to be the next like Brandon Lush. I'm not going to be the next Matt Kalla. But I'm in my lane and I can be the best in my lane. And so then I meet with, I think the day before, I had met with Max, which is the CEO of Orca. And he just did the SOCOM. He runs the SOCOM Fest. So Max is like, dude, you need to focus all in on Shophouse. He tells me the same thing. So I'm like, okay, all right. So I'm at the airport. I'm flying back to Texas and I'm like, guys, I'm quitting TikTok Shop. I'm going to bet all the chips on Shophouse. I'm going to focus everything I have on Shophouse. And it was scary. I didn't know how I was going to do it. But glory to God, I end up start getting all these sponsors coming up to me. And I'm networking and I'm doing the thing. The YouTube AdSense is looking great. And now I think our biggest thing is like we're getting in sponsors because the thing is I have all the attention, right, of the whole affiliate community. So if a brand wants affiliates or if they want to get that exposure, they know that they can partner with Shophouse to get that exposure. So right now we have a deal with Goalie, we have a deal with Abundance Incubator, which is a creator group. We have a deal with Board Rise, which is an agency, and I'm going to start working. I'm potentially going to start working with Social Commerce Fest again. So all these are sponsors. We're just going as we go. And so there's so much in the pipeline that I still want to build, so much that I still want to create. And I really feel like we're just starting. I really still feel like we're just starting. I mean, we won the biggest award at the Goalie Gala. The Goalie Gala was initially a concept, and I kind of helped pitch the original idea to Goalie, and the way that it was able to come about was just insane. We beat out every single TikTok event they've ever thrown in one night. And so I think when you have great partners like that really believe in the vision and that will fully support you, I think that's how history is made. And so I think like now it's like, dude, there's so many people that want to work with me. I'm going to start building out the team a little bit more on the back end side. I think I'm going to start doing consulting for brand owners and get them kind of, teaching them about the mindset of a creator, how to get creators, how to really conquer TikTok Shop. Because it's not easy, right? It's not like Amazon where it's just like everything's blueprint for you. This is human psychology of working with creators. And so I think that I want to start doing consulting. After winning the Goalie Legacy Award, man, like I just feel like we need to go even crazier. And so right now what I'm planning is the full Europe tour. So I want to start targeting every country, start making content with every country around the world. And I want to do a China tour. So I'm planning a China tour coming up pretty soon with Borg Rise.
And I mean, that's awesome. And then you have pretty much all the continents covered. I mean, South America you could go to, but I'm sure you're
I'm gonna
looking at
try. I'm
Brazil.
gonna try. I mean, I just feel like if I keep doing what I've been doing for the past year, I'm gonna stay where I'm staying, right? Like, I gotta expand. I gotta keep doing crazier content.
I mean, Tim, listening to all of that, what I'm hearing is you're just an entrepreneur at heart. And it was a match made in heaven where you have the creator background and then you have the entrepreneurial spirit. You brought it all together and you're not afraid to take those risks, right? I mean, there are a lot of people who would say, man, I got millions of subscribers on YouTube. Why would I ever do anything else? But you did something else.
Right.
Then you're having like 100K plus months as an affiliate creator and you're like, well, I want to do something else. I want to scale this. I want to hire more people. And you, of course, have some failures along the way, but that's all part of the journey, right? And where other people would see maybe their success slowly increase or maybe their ad revenue slowly decrease, like you're the one who's like, okay, I'm all or nothing. I want to double every time. I want to go all in every time. And it seems to be working out very well for you right now, which is fantastic to see. I do want to get a little bit deeper into the business set up that you have behind it, because it seems like up until this point, it was a lot of content creation, podcast creation, and clearly have all the connections in the industry to get the most interesting people to talk to you. But then you mentioned that you want to actually build out a whole full-fledged business around it. What is your plan there in 2026, and how will you tie that into the content that you're making right now?
So I think that initially my whole idea was like, okay, we can worry about the back end stuff later. Like we can worry about building an actual business later. If I want to start an agency or if I want to launch a product and I have 1 million followers of all affiliates, biggest in the world. If Coca-Cola comes to me tomorrow and is like, hey, we want to launch a Coca-Cola campaign with you and your creators, and I'm connected with every top creator from every continent, from all the US creators, like we would make it bang, right? So I think your influence is really key. I would say similar to the Gary Vee model, which I've actually connected with Gary, which is super exciting.
Nice.
I've been connecting with Gary lately, and he's all in on VFriends right now, but he has a big passion for social commerce. And I think like his whole, Gary leads the whole business that he builds. So when I went to Gary's I got invited to Gary's social commerce event that he had in New York.
Yeah, I saw that.
No TikTok shop people there, no affiliates. I was the only one there that was a creator. You know who was around me though? Ritz crackers, Oreo cookies, Ralph Lauren polo, all the biggest brands in the world because he's Gary, right? So if you can build that influence, then you can have the whole market. You can have the whole market, right? So for me, I'm gonna keep going 1,000%, 1,000 miles an hour, fully ahead. And I'm just gonna need to build that back end throughout, like along the way, because I need to be the face. I need to be the content creator. And I think building a internal thing, though, what I've realized now is like the real money is not gonna come from the AdSense. The real the real money is not gonna come from the brand deals as much as it's really good money. The real money is going to come from building an actual business and me being the top of the funnel, right? So me getting them in and then pushing them towards the businesses that I'm building. That's what I'm realizing now. And of course, I'm not like, I don't like doing back end stuff, but I'm going to have to.
At some point
I'm
you
going to
do,
have to,
but
right?
I also like that you do focus on what you're best at first. Like a lot of people come into, especially now, the creator space, and they're like, "Oh, I want to be a millionaire in like 6 months," and you're like, "Dude, you're not loving what this is all about. You're not
Right.
loving the content
Exactly.
creation itself." And of course, you can build your multi-million-dollar business later on, but first you gotta love what this is actually all about, which is the content, and clearly that's where your passion lies. So I completely agree that you
Right.
should focus on that and then later go really deep into any business opportunity that you also deem worth your time, because it takes away from the time that you actually could spend doing
Exactly.
what you love. And I mean, you could even do things like just doing partnership deals with agencies, with creators, with tech businesses in this space where Coca-Cola reaches out to you because you're the face of social commerce and of TikTok Shop. And they're like, hey, we're looking for the best agency. Who can you recommend? And you're like, well, funny you ask.
Exactly.
Actually, Will is a good friend or whatever. So
Exactly.
I think there's a lot of ways to monetize your attention and your basically your brand later on.
No, 1,000%. I mean, it makes sense. And the reason, again, I forgot to add, the reason why I built Shop House too is because I noticed that like nobody was making content other than like probably yourself for the sake of just making content around social commerce. Everybody was making content, but they were like, oh, but buy my course. Oh, but join my community. Oh,
Of
but
course.
like nobody was just making content for the sake of just making content. And so that's one of the things that I wanted to change. I mean, dude, you notice how big of an impact it's been? Like before we started Shop House, I mean, other than yourself, nobody was doing podcasts. Nobody was doing content. How many podcasts do you see on LinkedIn now?
Dude, it's
It's
wild.
every other
I
post.
know.
But I'll tell you what, there's no passion in it though. Like they're doing it because they know it's good for their
Yeah.
business. Because they see the attention that I've been able to draw. But they don't know that I love this. I will be running podcasts for 12 hours a day, which I just did 2 days ago at the Goalie Gala. We ran podcasts from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Like we were just boom, 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 boom. And again, I'm not taking advantage of these people. They are my friends, right? They are truly my friends, these affiliate people. So I know their families. I know their problems. I know their success. I'm not just saying, hey, come on in and let's share your numbers. Oh, numbers, great numbers. Okay, goodbye. Like I'm really passionate about them and I'm really friends with them and I really care about people. And I think that's what separates it is just like the passion. We're not just getting people in and, hey, share your numbers. Okay, thank you so much. Like it's like, we're really big on creator first and really optimizing. Like if I get a deal for my friends or whatever, I'll throw them the deal and or like an opportunity, right? Like I got flown out to China and then they wanted me to go to Hangzhou and fly me out first class and put me up in a really nice room. And I was like, hey, listen, I'm with two of my good affiliate friends. Can they come? And they were like, yeah. So like
Nice.
things like that, right? It's like they're really my friends. It's not.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that definitely shows in your content, and I hope to make it similarly clear that there's no angle, there's no ulterior motive behind making this content other than that you love the space and that you love
For
creating
sure.
and you're in it in the for the long haul. Whereas a lot of people, as you said, launch their podcast, launch their social media to drive awareness and push brand marketing and all of that. And it shows. It shows in the sub communication. It's something that everybody picks up on when you're watching these podcasts because it doesn't come from the heart and they're not in it as a
Right.
creator. So it's fantastic to see that you're focusing on the content first.
No, 1,000%. And I think even like we have a lot of business owners that want to be on the podcast, like brand owners. And I think that'd be really wise to start featuring brand owners. Truth is, though, I don't want to get a massive billion-dollar CEO on my show. And I don't know fully about that whole world. Like, I would want to bring in a co host for that out of respect for them. From the creator side, I can make podcasts all day. But if we're gonna get the CEO of like one of these massive TikTok shop companies, I really would like to bring on a co-host who really knows that whole world.
When we look at social commerce, I mean, obviously the major playground for it is China, and it's where it's all originated. I think a lot of people that are currently having success within social commerce and TikTok shop in the West right now are just copying what worked in the past in China and what they're currently doing. Is there a Chinese team? Is there someone who is doing what you're currently doing for this whole space, but has been doing it in China for a while? Are you aware of someone like that?
It's crazy. I've heard that there are people that are trying to start their own version of Shop House in China. My voice is super trending in China as well. It got all the way over there. I just saw a UK guy that is just starting his podcast. I think the way you got to think about it is like the abundance mindset, right? Like not seeing anybody as competition, but just seeing everybody as like collaborators. But I think the truth is that I really need to plant my roots in China. I think that when we talk about Hangzhou or Shenzhen, that is really like the mecca of all of social commerce. So if you are not present there, you're missing out on the core of what social commerce is, right? That's where it all originates from.
Do you think there's gonna be a wave like the Chinese kind of social commerce wave has hit Europe and obviously the US and UK, that there's a wave of creators then going back from US and other places into China? Or is it just too difficult with the language
No,
barrier, with the
no,
cultural barrier, etc.?
they're not going into China. I'm the only one that wants to like go head in into China. Like I'm the only one that's like headstrong. Let's go to China.
Yeah, it's so fascinating. I mean, I don't know if I mentioned that in our earlier conversations, but my wife is Chinese. So that's one
Amazing.
of the reasons why I got into social commerce a little bit earlier than other people here.
Wow.
And she's been talking about, Douyin and everything that is happening over there with social commerce. And I was always kind of dismissive. And even though I work in e-commerce professionally, I looked down on it and was like, this short form content, it's just not for me. I was a YouTube creator as well and did long form content, right?
Right.
I was like, second clips. I don't get it. It might be working in Asia. It's not going to work here, and it's certainly not for me. And now, well, I'm the fool. But better late than never. I jumped on the train, and it's fantastic to have that opportunity to also have the cultural insights from talking to her and knowing her family and going to China regularly to understand where this is all headed. Like understanding that we're so early in the development of social commerce here in the West, and then going to China and seeing the insane numbers that they're driving there, the insane ecosystem that has formed around this industry, and it gets me so excited to know that all of this is yet to be built here in the West.
Right. No, I agree. I mean, when I went to China, I mean, I went to a 17 floor building where they had all the biggest brands in the world, Adidas, Tom Ford, and they're just doing these streams, excuse me, all day long. And they're doing $1 million is low for one stream there. It's crazy.
Do you see over there in China the majority of the streamers being famous before they become live shopping hosts, or does their fame come from what they've
So
been
that's
doing
a,
in social commerce?
that's where we're heading in the US, I think, shortly. And that's one of the things that I want to make sure all my friends are very aware of. When the influencer wave hits, it's gonna knock out everybody. Everybody, right? The big streamers over there are 70 million followers doing $100 million streams, right? Over here, influencers are not aware of the money that is made yet. The influencers over there are making so much money that they fully dropped doing the influencer stuff and they are now just e-commerce streamers because it makes so much money. And I think that's one thing that I want to help my friends build a moat around is like solidify yourself in the space, because even though you've done $20 million, what happens when the biggest beauty influencer, right? Like if there's a makeup deal to be made and it's like they want a live host for this mega live that they're doing, are they going to choose the girl out of Portland who's done, $5 million in sales, or are they going to choose James Charles who has 80 million followers?
Right. Yeah, I just talked to the
You know what I
founder of
mean?
Sommers, who actually did a live with James Charles, and that's exactly where the industry is headed. I think all of these people are going to jump on the train once it's fully mainstream, and it's going to be interesting to see that shake out, because I'm not actually sure that all of the ones that are currently having the most followers will also be the ones that will be the best at selling, because it's a very
Right.
different skill,
Right.
right? So I think there will also be people who are just extremely well trained in selling online, selling live, and making content that converts. And then they might blow up more than the people who used to be entertaining, because they just make so much more money.
Right.
And the industry, the infrastructure around it, the platforms that are driving this one conversion in the end, right? They're going to discover that this is actually where the money is. It's not the ad revenue that we're generating. And they're going to push the people that are best at generating the revenue for them.
Exactly. Exactly. So I have a couple big plans that I'm building, um, that I'm gonna be announcing soon. I think, yeah. I mean, I think I'm at a very interesting standpoint, because now I have my influencer managers who are representing these high level people. Like I'm talking the biggest influencers in the world, whoever you can think about, and they're trying to get into social commerce. So now they're knocking on my door. They're like, "Hey Tim, let's meet. Let's have a meeting. Da 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 da. Da. How are we gonna do this?" So my heart is with the affiliates in the space currently. I feel like those are like my people. I feel like that's my community. So I want to position myself how I can, help them best. So we shall see. It's going to be interesting as it progresses.
I mean, you're in a very interesting spot, because on the one hand, you're super well connected. As I started this podcast with, you're the face of social commerce. On the other hand, you're a little bit outside of the ecosystem, right? If you look at the ecosystem of social commerce, it's the brands, it's the agencies, it's the affiliate creators, it's the platform. And then you also have tech companies spun out around that. You're outside of all of that. So I would imagine that from your point of view, it's sometimes also difficult to figure out, hey, what's my biggest opportunity here? Where can I generate revenue? How can I monetize all
Right.
this influence that I have and all the knowledge that I gained over the course of these last couple of years? How do you think around that? Is that something you're struggling with, or is it just like, I'm going to take it when it comes?
I think for me, what I've always found the most success in is filling the gap in the market that is not already there. So I think for me, it's not about like hey, how can I go up to battle with all these agencies? How can I go up to battle with all these creator groups in this arena where everybody's fighting for the top spot? I'm not interested in that at all. I'm interested in bringing something completely new to the platform and bringing it from what I already know. Like, how can we build partnerships with Mr. Beast and with Feastables? You know, how can we build partnerships with AMP and Tone or Logan Paul and Prime? Like, how can we build those partnerships? How can we let their managers know what we've done and what we're building? I think that for me, I'm thinking about it a completely different way. And sure, there's money to be made in the TikTok affiliate space. I can build my own agency and be one of the top dogs tomorrow, but I'm thinking about it for the 10, 20-year plan. And for me, you know, like, I'm not interested in making the quick buck. I'm interested in really building an empire.
Well, I think that's a very good place to end this. And honestly, Tim, there's a lot of things I would still love to discuss. So if you're up for it, would love to have a part two at some point,
Of course.
especially with all the things that you have in the pipeline, everything that probably you're not quite ready to talk about yet, but would love to hear more about it at some point later this year. As I said, I've been following your journey very closely. It's fantastic what you've been doing, what you've done for the community. And after talking with you today, it's fantastic to see how genuinely you care about everything that is happening in the space. So thanks for all of that.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a real pleasure. Glory to God on everything. And I'd love to have you join me in one of the cities for the Europe tour, maybe in Germany.
Yeah, reach out to me. I would love to make that
Feel
happen.
free to come by.
No problem at all.